A year on from the 2023 draft, and I thought it would be a really cool idea to go through and rank the top 10 players after 1 year of footy. And this was a draft that was really interesting, and the way it played out in 24 was quite cool. The top 2 picks look absolute stars. I've tried to be as unbiased as possible when judging both Hawthorn players in this discussion, and the number 10 slot was extremely difficult, and that's adding in the fact that late draft picks like Archie Roberts and Ari Schoenmaker look like they could genuinely take the next step in 2025. Archie Roberts because of Essendon's seemingly now youth policy that they're going to go with his good decision making off half-back, and Schoenmaker could be the guy to step up in a Josh Battle-esque role, considering they couldn't land Brodie Kemp. Neither of them made the top 10 list here, but here are, and this isn't a redraft, my top 10 players from the 2023 draft based on their 2024 performances. But before that, really quick, it has been a heck of a week here at Daz Talks Footy. Not only did we hit 4,000 subscribers, we also hit 500,000 channel views, and the October mock draft hit 10,000 views, which is a first for any video on this channel. Now, Richmond fans, I promise you that I do not hate you, but for those that gave genuine feedback, whether you agreed or whether you disagreed, I thank you very much. And even Richmond fans, if you've given constructive feedback, I appreciate it. I really do. But if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it after you've watched this. Alright, and if you like the video, subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family. I said 4,000 by the end of the year, so I have no idea what to say now towards the end of the year. 4,200? 4,250? Sure, let's make that the goal, and I need your help in doing that. So, number 10, the hardest spot on this list. Like I said, Archie Roberts. Like I said, Ari Schoenmaker. But it was really down to 2 players. The unluckiest player, in my opinion, is Joel Frazier, who did not make the cut because from the Gold Coast Suns, Will Graham did. Hard to split. Bulldogs fans, if you're really upset with me, I deeply apologise. I love what he brought to the table. I love what Riley Sanders is probably going to bring to the table next year, hopefully, as he gets another year under his belt. But Will Graham looks like he's going to play 200 games. Damien Hardwick actually said in an interview in the preseason, if there's one draftee that is going to play 200 games for the Gold Coast Suns, it is going to be Will. And what was so impressive is that he didn't look out of place at all. Yet another academy graduate for the Gold Coast Suns, which is a big tick for him. But he showed a couple of things: genuine toughness and composure with ball in hand. 2 traits that Damien Hardwick will love as Gold Coast look to pursue not only their first premiership down the line, but their first final series. Will it come in 25? Who knows? But Will Graham will be there to give it a real shake-up. Now, number 9 is Logan Morris. Now, if you could pick any draftee's 2024 campaign to emulate, it would be his, because it resulted in a flag. And now with Joe Danaher gone, he's going to be a guy that is going to have to step up well beyond his years next season, especially considering that Brisbane's backup option looks like it is going to be Sam Day. So we'll see how that goes. Anywho, what Logan was able to do during the year was really impressive. Kicked over 20 goals in his maiden season. I think it was around 25, 26 in totality, which was really impressive. Stood up massively in the grand final, which was epic. He kicked a couple of goals from set shots as well. And at the grand final party that I was at, he was an anytime goal scorer that boosted a lot of multis. So thank you there, Logan. Gamble responsibly, as we know. But in terms of on-field performance and not narrative, it was hard for me to put him above some of the others on this list. Number 8, Lawson Humph from the Geelong Football Club. Didn't play a whole lot of games in his first campaign, but the silkiness, the slickness, the composure, the balls of this guy in order to pick off kicks on the 45 and just hit them every time. What else I saw in the final series that was really impressive was real flashes of defensive nous as well. He showed an ability to stand up in the contest, which will only serve Geelong a better purpose, depending on what they're going to do with Tom Stewart. Yes, the inclusion of Bailey Smith may mean Stewart goes back to his All-Australian quarterback-seeming style of play, but you never know. Will Max Holmes be a full-time midfielder and Lawson Humphreys take that half-back spot? I think that makes a lot of sense, but during 2024, the genuine class on show from this guy, and he played so well throughout the majority of his games, was a sight to behold. A late-round bonus bet, tick, punt, whatever you want to call it. Andrew Mackie You're a genius. It may only take one person to change the way you see the world. I have no idea whose quote that is, but I like it a lot. And Shawn Maguire, I think, fits the mould of AFL clubs giving good state-level players a chance, no matter their age. His ability to impact in the finals was unbelievable. Didn't play as many games as I would have liked to see him rocket up this list, but he had a good final series as well and showed he was so ready for AFL level. He did not look overawed at all. His forward pressure was insane, and his performance against Hawthorn at GMHBA Stadium on what was probably the last horror day as a Hawthorn fan in 24 still burns. So, a credit to him, because it seemed genuinely like he had 32 tackles, which he didn't. But that was the vibe, the eye test, and he was very good. Number 6, Caleb Windsor. Really hard to play so well on a wing. Caleb Windsor was able to do that throughout the season, lit up the MCG and did some really nice things. Look, he floated in and out of games like wingmen do, to be honest, but he showed enough class, aptitude, and skill throughout the majority of the season to let Melbourne fans know that he was an absolute tick with their first pick of the draft. I love everything about this guy. His ball use is going to be something that he'll want to improve, but for crying out loud, it's still illegal for these guys to drink if they go to the US, so we'll park that a little bit and let him naturally improve. Melbourne fans should be really pumped with their 2 picks that are coming in last year's draft. Colton Tolstrup showed plenty last year, and they would absolutely be loving what Caleb's brought to the table, and therefore he sits on my list just outside the top 5. Kicking off the top 5 is the first of 2 Hawks on this list. Kolsha Dia is the man that I'm going to go for here. Not only is the story magnificent with what's happened to his late dad and a club great, Kolsha played in 3 losses this year for the Hawks. He lost by a point, 2 points, and 3 points. So it's fair to say, if we can use an NBA term, his plus-minus was genuinely insane. And I wonder if there's a way we could track that between the point differentials when players are on the bench versus on the field. That would be a really cool thing to track. I know interchanges are quite complicated, but considering a team like the Bulldogs got into a lot of trouble for the amount of time that the Bont was on the bench at separate games this year, I think that would be a really interesting thing to track. Champion Data, get on that instead of some weird stuff that Champion Data can do. I do like Champion Data, but my goodness. Daz, what in the bleep does this have to do with Kolsha Dia? Nothing. Let's get back on topic. The way he was able to show composure throughout the final series was unbelievable, but this isn't about your performance later in the year. This is about the year in total. It took him a little while to establish a spot in the side, and with no Mitch Lewis, he was a deer in the headlights. I thought he adapted brilliantly. Massive credit to you, Kolsha. I've tried to be as unbiased as possible. I originally had him at number 4, but I owe it to a subscriber count now of about 4,015 at the time of recording. A very fair assessment, but he kicks off a very star-studded and talented top 5, does Kolsha. Good boy. Number 4 is Darcy Wilson, who genuinely took the piss in some games this year. Not only, both games against Geelong, he was unbelievable, but his ability to get up and down the ground was fantastic. Again, it's a lonely spot, that wing. I think they're going to need to use him more St Kilda next year, especially because they're going to bring in at least 1, if not 2 midfielders next year. Mateus Filippo is going to go through there as well. They are genuinely going to need a connector. Bradley Hill is getting a little bit older. The keys are your son. Go and be the St Kilda wingman for 350 games, if you believe what Stevie J said on the Sunday Rub this year, which I love the ballsiness of that call. I don't really know what else to say about Darcy. His goal kicking on the run could probably be a point of improvement, but if there is any St Kilda fan out there that is somewhat disappointed with what Darcy Wilson has served up, shame on you. This kid is going to be special. He already is. At number 3, I so wanted to put him at number 2, but I am going to go with the Wizard, Nick Watson, at number 3. His ability to hit the scoreboard, I totally get why opposition fans don't like him, and it's why Hawthorn fans love him. His ability to get in your face as an opposition fan base is just awesome. There is a reason why people wanted the Hawks humbled, and it is because the Hawks enjoyed their own work, which young people are allowed to do once in a while. So, what did the Wizard do in the finals? He took the piss, genuinely. I thought he was one of, if not the best on ground against the Bulldogs, and he showed up in a big way when plenty of his more experienced teammates did not against Port Adelaide in that epic semi-final. However, I couldn't quite nudge him into the number 2 spot. His early season goal-kicking woes cost him a little bit, and I didn't want to disregard the man in the number 2 spot because his club wasn't good enough to play in the finals. But the top 3 of this list, you could arguably say top 4 with Darcy Wilson as well, are going to be getting their club supporters through the gates for many years to come, which is awesome and exactly what you want in a draft. So number 3, the Wizard. Get the hats out. Bay 9 3/4. Hockball 25. I'm a bit like Jack Gunston at the moment because that was a lot of terms that I half understand and one that I still don't. Number 2 is Zack Merritt. Sorry, that's not Zack Merritt. That's Zack Merritt 2.0. That's Colby McKercher, if you didn't already know. Who is Zack Merritt 2.0, who was forced to play at halfback for the majority of the year, and what I loved about the move is it just let him get the footy. Now, he made plenty of mistakes. That's perfectly fine. Zack Merritt did in his first year as well. It is A-OK. The reason why I put him above Nick Watson, though, is, again, partly because I didn't want North Melbourne's on-field performance to go against someone of his quality, and you may think he just gets cheap touches, but how else are you going to get indoctrinated into the game? His class, his skill, his speed, I love it all. He was my man coming out of the draft. I suppose I should share him with Pommy. I don't want to, but I love Pommy, so he can have 1% of the CEO spot. The other 99, that's Daz's. He's a star. He's a bona fide star. And once he rolls through that midfield, this guy, along with Harry Sheasel, I reckon, can win a Brownlow one day. And number 1 is, of course, Harley Reid. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, really, Daz, that's the easy answer. Go out and make a big call. What are you doing? If he didn't get suspended, he wins the Rising Star. Right? Or if you're thinking to yourself, actually, if Sam Darcy doesn't get suspended, Daz, he wins the Rising Star. So I'm going to get in the comments and get a dog up here. Well, Sam Darcy wasn't drafted in this draft. So I'm going to take the guy in his first year, who was drafted in 23, who did the best in the Rising Star. Now, yes, part of his stardom is the fact that the rest of the team was garbage, especially that midfield for the majority of the season. Elliot Yeo had a good year, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't exactly a bona fide mid for the entire season. But also, Harley is the showstopper. He is the barometer for this draft class still. And once, hopefully, West Coast, or another club if he leaves, gets into the finals, watch him explode. His aerial prowess is fantastic. His burst away from stoppage is great. And once he builds up his tank, which could take one pre-season, we are witnessing a birth of one of the best players in the competition. It's as simple as that. So, that is my top 10. You don't have to agree with all of it. You can agree with none of it. Comment below, let me know. These are just my opinions, guys. Don't take it too seriously. It's free content on YouTube, alright? So, if you disagree, tell me why. What should I change? What should I flip? Was I too kind, not kind enough on the Hawks? Because as a Hawthorn fan, making these kinds of lists is relatively difficult, but I am still confident in my choices. If you're having a great week, I hope it gets even greater. If you're not having that great of a week, I hope it improves, because you're a superstar, you're an absolute champion. If it's your birthday today, the happiest of birthdays from Daz to you. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much to everyone that's jumped on board because of the mock draft. I will see you in the next video. Ciao.